Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Chess DNA, and in this video, I'm going to show you how exactly I won my FIDE-rated classical chess tournament that took place in Lahore on this weekend. So basically, it was a double round-robin invitational event, which means that I had to play 5 other rated players from that city, and I had to play them twice. So in total, I played like 10 rounds. So join me in my analysis of the games of those 10 rounds. So I'll share all the advices and tips that I use for myself to win the event. So it will be very beneficial for you. So I reached at the event extremely tired, taking a 5-hour long drive to another city. And I was like, I hadn't slept for like 32 hours. And I had to play right away this game against women national master Noor Fatma Rashid, who had white pieces against me in the first game. So she started the game with 1d4 and I played knight f6, which is my main repertoire. And here I would just start giving you like the advices that I use for myself in the classical chess events, but you can also use them in rapid events. Before making the first move, you have to get composed, fully get yourself involved into the game so that you are just completely locked in. So when she made her first move, her pieces were totally, not organized. Some pawn was not in the center. Some bishop was just all the way touching the knight. So pieces were very disorganized. That shows that you're not really ready for the battle and your brain doesn't know that. My pieces were completely organized, just every piece at the center of the board and super well organized. You must have seen grandmasters just organize their pieces very well before the game. And only then you have to take a little moment, like 30 seconds meditation before the game. You have to tell yourself, give yourself that self-belief that you must not blunder. You have to win. You have to play good creative chess and then leave it in the hands of God. So I just did a little bit of meditation before making the first move. It doesn't show that you don't know what your first move is, but it's just a little getting into the game, getting into the zone, like LeBron does the chalk in the air thing. So you have to just compose yourself as well. So you must have a pre-game ritual. That's the tip 1. So I played knight f6 and she played c4. And here I basically took a little bit of a gap because I was not really prepared for this tournament. So I didn't prepare any openings or something. So recently I've been playing the Benoni. So I was thinking to maybe play c5, but here I just decided to go with my main repertoire with the King's Indian. So I played g6. And maybe I would have gone with a Grunfeld after knight c3. I might have gone for d5, but here she played g3. And now I just played bishop g7, bishop g2 castles, knight to f3, and d6, choosing the King's Indian defense. And this is the fianchetto variation. And here she just castled. So I played c6 and I was hoping to put my queen on a5 and go into that line that I learned in Grandmaster Daniel Naroditsky's channel. So she played knight c3 and I played knight d7 and she played e4, e5, and here she played d5. Daniel recommended a line with queen a5, but only after bishop to e3, I guess. So here, basically she played d5, so I had to be a little bit on my own. But here I just got a little bit nervous by not putting my knight on c5, which is basically the main move, and computer does suggest knight c5, the main move. I was a little bit worried about the move b4. I thought that I might not be missing some tricks here, because here if I take the free pawn on e4, then knight takes e4, knight takes e4, and I was worried about knight takes e5, usually a thematic idea in the King's Indian. But here I do have c takes d5, and after I don't have c takes d5. I have c takes d5 here. Okay, we don't take the knight. That is something that was not in my knowledge, so I was like a little bit scared of that. But had I gone into this line and I would have taken the knight, then bishop takes knight, and this is equal. So correctly assessed maybe, but like if I had seen maybe this move c takes d5 in this position, maybe I can add this to my knowledge here, then it's completely fine for black. But it's important for all of you who are King's Indian players to basically throw the knight into c5 immediately. Like you always want to do that. That's the typical move in the King's Indian. But we always are scared about b4, but not in this case because the e4 pawn is hanging. But you have to remember that knight takes e4, and then after knight takes, and knight takes e5, the counter sacrifice by white does not win the knight back straight away. We take on d5, and if, for example, here white just does something like c takes d5, then we just play knight to c3, which is the move that computer gives us, getting our knight out of trouble, attacking the queen, and then winning the knight on the next move. So it's important to maybe remember that for all of you who are watching as King's Indian defense players. So I played knight c5, and I decided to just buy the bullet, and here she played rook to e1, and I played a5. The idea is to stop b4. now. And after she played b3, which was surprising to me in the game as well. So I was not really like sure why she played b3, which is not the main move. A4 is like a more solid way of playing here, just stopping any kind of A4 for black, and this is just much better. Some players have also played A3. I've seen that a lot in my like games of King's Indian, but here even A4 by black just shuts this down forever. This move B3 does kind of stop A4 for now, and the idea usually is probably to play A3 then and then play B4, because if you go A3 directly and I go A4, then you cannot play B4 because pawn takes en passant. So if you start with B3, then you have this option of playing A3 and then B4. For example, I just make a normal move, let's say bishop D7, then white can go A3, and then I cannot go A4. Because here white can go b4, and I cannot take en passant because this pawn actually moved 2 steps. So I thought that maybe her idea is with b3 is to then play a3 and then b4. So that was my idea about the position. And here I was like not sure what to do because I hadn't seen this before. Main move here is c takes d5, but I'm not used to playing that structure. So I went into the main idea in the King's Indian, which is to put the knight on h5 and play f5 directly. But probably a little bit better was maybe to play knight to e8, removing the knight out of the way, and then play f5, because on h5 it does become a target for the queen. But here again, bishop a3 is coming with a great initiative for white. So maybe these knight moves are not suitable here. But I played knight h5 to save time, and like I thought, look, let's see if she knows the theory here. So she plays bishop b2 when she should have gone like bishop a3. a3 is a much better square for the bishop, where bishop is eyeing the knight, the pawn, and the rook. Everybody's there. On b2, it's slightly inaccurate, biting on granite on e5. So I played f5, the main idea for King's Indian, and here she captured the pawn. Better was to take on c6 and go that direction, but she took the pawn because initially, you always want to take with a pawn, but here knight takes e5 is a problem, and queen takes the knight on the next moves, which was definitely something very bad for me. So I captured with the bishop, and she immediately attacked my bishop with a knight h4 move. And here I first threw my knight to the d3 square. During the game, I thought that I must be fine here. A better move is just to drop the bishop back to d7, but I thought that I might be getting a good attack here on the bishop, on the rook. But my main idea was basically to capture the rook. But here she just captured my bishop. And I realized that I cannot capture the rook, because if I do take the rook, then she takes my bishop on g7. And my knight is under attack. My other knight is under attack. And this is just much better for white. And here I just decided to capture the bishop, attacking the queen. Still white is just much better. And queen to c2 was played. Better was to play queen to e2. And here I just grabbed the knight back, and I was feeling optimistic about my position. I thought that, okay, I'm having these two pawns which are having a lot of energy going forward, and maybe I'll go to f4 and crack open the king side. And here it was very important for her to first take on c6, as computer points out, but very natural is just to grab the knight back. So what can go wrong in that direction? Because here the queen just becomes target to this bishop after e4, which I found in the game, immediately play it, and here she just, I don't know what happened to her, she played g4. And suddenly I was like, what is going on? This doesn't look right, because first of all, I get the f4 square from my knight, and why has she weakened her king side just like that? So immediately played knight f4, bishop dropped back to f1, and now queen g5. And she played queen c1. I took on g4, queen f3 check, king g1, and rook to f6 with the idea to play rook g6 with a deadly mating attack. And here she just played knight to e2. So if I go rook g6 now, then the knight just blocks and the game gets delayed for a moment. But knight takes g3, and after bishop takes rook g6 check, and here she resigned because after king to f1, queen g2 would be mate. So the game was an easy win. Usually the first round is the toughest because you are never sure what is your form, how well are you going to perform, are you blundering? But after the first round, you just pick a little bit of confidence, and then you feel like, okay, everything is good, you're doing great. But I saw the analysis of the game, and she was better throughout the game, so I did not really like my confidence. Like I was like, okay, I'm playing bad chess, which is not a great sign. But in the second game, it showed. I was a little bit nervous that why am I not playing the best chess? I should be playing okay. But okay, I won the first game. My main target was to win the tournament. And I thought, okay, 1 out of 1 is good start. Of course, like let's try to just win another game. And I had white pieces, and I'm always very confident with white pieces. I'm like, okay, white pieces, I either win or I draw. I must not lose. So I started the game with the knight f3 move, and this is my main repertoire with white pieces. I sometimes play e4, d4, like other systems as well, but a knight f3 is something I can rely upon anytime. And the idea of playing the ready system is to not show your cards to your opponent. Like if I start with e4, then I'm going to face her preparation, whatever she has prepared, whether she's a Sicilian, the French defense, e5 player, whatever. I don't know, so I'm not sure. So I play knight f3 where I am prepared and I don't know what she has got against already. So she made a flexible move, knight f6, not showing her cards as well. So I played the c4 move, transposing into the English. Here she played d6, and I was like a little bit annoyed with that. I wanted to play something such as after e6, I would have gone maybe knight c3, and after d5, I've gone to e3. So I was looking for those setups. But here she played d6, and I was like, I have to play against the King's Indian defense here, which is basically something that arises from a d4 setup. And I'm not a d4 player. I'm usually an e4 player or a ready system player. So I'm not really inclined towards playing this system. So I played g3 here, trying to go for the Catalan kind of structure. So g6, and here she played, I played b3, going for the double fianchetto. And here she played c5, bishop g2, and castles. And we are transposing into some line of King's Indian. Computer says it's King's Indian attack. But I think, yeah, you can call it whatever. But I feel more comfortable in these kind of structures of the double fianchetto. So I played the move here, castles, and she played a6, knight to c3, knight c6, and d4 striking in the center. C takes d4, knight takes d4, knight takes d4, queen takes d4, and she played knight to d7, attacking my queen. So I dropped the queen back to d2. So rook b8 in anticipation of going b5 here. So that's her idea. So I played knight d5, throwing the knight on the center of the board and forced a trade of bishops. And then she played e6. But after e6, the knight dropped back to f4, although computer says that c3 is still a better square for the knight. But I thought f4 should also be fine, and I do have slight advantage in this position. The d pawn is weak, and I might have good attack on the d file, doubling my rooks there. So she plays b5, and I captured on b5. Here, I was contemplating on some other moves, such as, yeah, I thought I could just maybe... No, I mean, maybe not here. So I captured the pawn, rook b5, and then rook c1, and bishop b7. I traded the bishops and planted my rook on c6 square, knight back to b8. So here I thought I was very confident, and I didn't see this knight b8 move saves the pawn. I thought that she might go knight c5. In that case, trying to defend the pawn that way. And then this pawn also gets defended with the queen. So I might have rook d1 move here. So if d5 is played, then I had a rook take c5, and yeah, so this is the line I saw in the game. But knight b8 I missed, and I dropped the rook back to c2. I thought I was still good, okay. So d5, I doubled the rooks on the c file, and I knew that advantage was on my side. I had good control of the c file. Here she played queen a5, and I just dropped the knight back to g2. Okay, computer gives rook to c8 in this position as the best move for white, and going right for the invasion. Rook c8. If rook had taken, I would have taken back. King, oh, that would have been mate, by the way. Yeah. So after rook c8, what would she do? Maybe knight d7. Yeah, that is a move that I saw in the game, maybe. But here I had to play knight d3 with the idea to play maybe knight e5 in future. Still, it's a very decent position for white. But my idea was to play knight to e2 to e3, knight to g2 to e3 to g4 to f6. So I wanted to play like a positional, in a positional manner. So knight g2, still white is a little bit better. She played h6, and I played knight to e3. Again, I was contemplating on these ideas, rook c8 all the time. I thought I always had this move in my pocket, so let's try this. And maybe she misses that I'm going to put my knight on g4 and then to f6. But she played h5 here, stopping my idea. But here I had g4 move. Now computer shows it, but I played rook c5. And here I started to get very low on the clock, and I started to panic a little bit. And rook c7, she played queen b6, and I played queen to f6 with an attack. And here she played queen d6. Now I have a commanding position, completely winning, but I was very low on the clock. So I just played a wrong move, rook to c8, trying to go for the trades. The winning idea in this position was rook takes on f7. I was briefly looking at these sacrifices, but I was really low on the clock. So I was like basically not really investing too much time into this. Because if rook takes, then the other rooks get to c8 square with check. And if rook blocks, then you take on g6 with a check. And computer shows some ideas here with knight to f5 threatening mate because the rook is pinned and you cannot take my rook, as knight on f5 will threaten a mate on g2. Had I had like more time on the clock, might have gone for this, because I was briefly looking at this rook takes f7, but I didn't put too much time into this. And I played rook c8, after which she played knight d7. And after I traded the rooks, the position is now completely equal. So I knew that I spoiled it. So wanted to just maybe play for some end game here. So maybe I thought that I could maybe trick her in the end game. But she played it marvelously here, just using the right idea, grabbing my extra pass pawn on the AF file, and then she offered me a draw here, so I accepted. I was low on the clock. I was nervous that maybe if she keeps playing on, I will have to find some accurate moves to draw the game. But really, I think that it is an easy draw from this position. So that was like the second game against Noor. And then I went into my third game, which was basically against a very strong player. 1715 was his rating, so I was 1735, so it was almost my rating. And I was a little bit nervous that I have to play good chess against this guy, so he's not like like someone easy to play against. So started with knight f3 again, and he played f5, and that's where I like, oh shit, I have to play against this Dutch Leningrad guys who always have this setup, and I never prepared anything against this. But I feel like, okay, let's have fun. Let's play like a positional game and test myself as a positional player. So I played c4, knight f6, knight c3, and g6, b3, bishop e2, d4, d6, and trying my best to convert it into some kind of a double fianchetto so that I feel a little bit comfortable. So here I played this d5 move. So let me get the review to see like, are these moves even good or not? Like, I haven't seen my analysis yet. So yeah, this game was pretty good, 94% accuracy, so I played pretty well in this one. So all of these are just standard moves in this position. So I played d5 to grab more space, just a positional idea, knight a6, bishop g2, knight c5, castles, a5. And about this game, my opponent, Amr Hashmi, was playing like very fast. He was literally blitzing out, and I was getting nervous because I had like 17 minutes on the clock at some point, and he had 36 minutes. So he had 6 minutes extra from the time that he started. So making me a lot nervous that he was showing a lot of confidence. So he played immediately e5 here. I took on Basan, bishop takes e6, knight g5, and he dropped the bishop back to d7. Better is to play rook to d8 and not really worry about taking that bishop from the knight, but here he just dropped the bishop back to d7, and I played my knight to d5. Better move is e4, trying to open up the position as the rook and the queen are aligned. So, but I thought that maybe just do some exchanges. I was getting low on the clock, and I decided to simplify the position here. Yeah, I couldn't find a better move here. Knight h3 to f4 was the idea that I missed here. Queen d4 check, and he blocked with the queen. I brought my rook into the game. h6, knight f3, and he decided to trade queens, and he immediately played f4. What was making me nervous was that he was playing absolutely fantastic chess, but he was playing that instantly. So I was like, wow, how confident is he? So I dropped my bishop back to g2 here. And why did I drop the bishop back to g2? Because I wanted to play like maybe at some point e4, but c6 would have trapped the bishop. So I dropped the bishop back to g2, and he took on g3, and h takes g3, and he brought the rook into the game. So I played e3, bishop g4, and I played f3, sending the bishop back to e6, and I traded, and I played e4 here, and he played g5. Bishop h3, attacking the rook, rook to f6, and I played bishop to f5 because I wanted to play g4, so I didn't want my bishop to be a bad bishop blocked behind the pawn, so I played bishop to f5 first so I could play g4, but he played h5, and I played rook d5, improving the position of the rook, king h6, king h6, and I played g4. And here he was blitzing out the whole game, and here he just instantly played the move h4, which is a massive blunder, and once I saw this, I knew that this can't be right, because here I played this e5 move, hitting the rook, and this knight is defended by the pawn, which means that your rook has to move, and then the bishop could trap it. So he decided to take the pawn immediately, again showing confidence and taking immediately, and I took the knight, and that's when he realized that he's messed it up. And I don't know why was he playing so fast, and after here he resigned. And we had like a 5 minutes break, and then we moved to the next game, which was again against the same guy, Amr Hashmi, and I was like, okay, this guy plays fast, and I have to just maybe tire him out, and he would just give me the game himself. So this game was also just I mean, a masterpiece in the Petrov. So like I wanted to play solid, so I played e4. He played no, I mean he played e4 and I played e5. Knight f3, knight f6, and here he captured the pawn on e5. I captured back on e4. Queen e2, queen e7, queen takes knight, and d6. Trying to win the knight back, and here I win the knight back. Here you can't move the knight because the queen would be hanging. So takes, then knight c6, attacking that extra pawn he has. Bishop b5, breaking the pin with bishop d7, and here he made a mistake with f4, which I told him about after the game. Like f4 was a mistake. Here white is supposed to maybe castle. Knight c3 is a good move. You can also play bishop f4, but not really like f4, which is a mistake because after this I castled. Although the proper way of playing here is knight takes e5. But I was not sure that if he knows this line or he doesn't know, maybe he's using this as a side line because before f4, white is just better, slightly better. But f4 actually makes it slightly better for black. So I thought maybe it's not so bad for white and he has prepared this. And here I just castled, not playing like the main move knight takes e5, which would have like led to a very dry equal game. But after castles, bishop e3 he played, and I played a6. Knight takes e5 is again the top move, but I played a6 first to kick the bishop back to d3, and I played knight b4. Trying to win the bishop pair, he castled, and I played g6 here. Because here I wanted to really play bishop c6, attacking the queen, but then the queen would have f5 square for the check. And first g6 is taking away the f5 square from the queen, and he like asked my knight to take on d3, so I took on d3, and he took back with a pawn, which is the correct move because it opens up the c file for the attack against my king. But black is just much better here despite being a pawn down because of the bishop pair. So that's how valuable a bishop pair is. And in this position he played, I played bishop f5 attacking the queen, and now I was really happy because I was getting the pawn back, and the activity of the pieces is just great here for black. And also I have a bishop pair, so I was not feeling nervous at all. Here he played bishop a7, which was surprising to me, but maybe it was a clever move, taking away the b8 square from the king. And I played queen d7, trying to trade off queens because I was confident in the endgame I would have a bishop pair, which would be doing the job quite easily. He declined the queen trade, and I played rook to d1. Okay, computer says h5, h4. This idea is much better for black here, but I wanted to trade off the rooks, which he bit the bullet and took it, and the best move for it was knight c3, just letting the rook into the game, because after takes, yeah, like once he took, I was like surprised, and I took back with the queen, and now this knight is hanging. So again, he has like 37, 36 minutes on the clock. I have like 28 minutes. I was also playing pretty fast up till this moment. I didn't want to go in time trouble, so I played, so I basically got this position with 28 minutes on the clock. And in this position, I spent like around 15 to 18 minutes, just trying to make sure that I'm winning. And am I just not getting mated after taking that knight? Because it was a nervous situation. And after a long thought of 15 to 18 minutes, I finally took the knight. And I was worried about queen takes f7, which he did not play in the game. He played bishop to b6. But if he had taken on f7, I was a little bit worried about queen e8. Here the computer gives queen to d2 check, and I couldn't find like a mating attack. So what does computer give here? Queen d2 check, king goes to g3, and here bishop back to e4 is the idea. Not be scared of queen e8 check because you always come back and block. Queen e6 check and queen d7. Yeah, like in my calculation, I saw that it doesn't really work. So I finally decided to take the knight after a long thought of 15 to 18 minutes. And here he played bishop b6, and I gave queen c2 check and traded off the queens. And here his idea is to put the rook on c1 and win my bishop back. So he took on c7. I first played bishop c5 check, king to e2, king takes bishop, rook c1, bishop back to b6, and he took my bishop. But now I have an extra piece, and I just carefully here boiled this down into a winning position, and he resigned in this position, just a winning position for black. And I asked him after the game why was he playing so fast, and he mentioned that he was like, he got super exhausted after playing the first couple of games, so he was not in the mood. So yeah, I do believe he's a very strong player, and he has a lot of potential. He's young, just a young kid, but yeah, he needs to play. He needs to build more stamina, I believe. And like for that, you have to play a lot of chess, especially in the days before the tournament. You have to increase your stamina. You should be able to play chess for good like 6-7 hours on the tournament day. So that was the game against Amar Hashmi. And then I moved to my last round of the day against Muhammad Azan, who's also a little kid, 11 years old. And in this game, I was like, okay, that's the last round of the tournament. I just wanted to win this, of course, but I would have been happy with a draw because I was feeling extremely tired, exhausted, and sleepy. And okay, so I lost this game. So let's see how I lost. He played knight f3, so he used his ready system against myself, who's a ready player. And I was like, okay, so that is interesting. Like, he plays ready against me, and I'm myself a ready player. So let's see how he beats me with the ready. After thinking for a while, I played d5 and g3, and I played e6. Here I again thought for quite 2 to 3 minutes, which structure should I play? I know the c5 is a very nice structure for black, but here I was worried about maybe he would go bishop g2, I would go knight c6, and if he plays d3 here, I'm fine playing this. I'm happy playing e5 and I'm good. But if he goes d4, I don't like this reverse Grunfeld for white with an extra tempo. So that's why I didn't play c5 here, and I played e6, waiting for his like move bishop g2, knight f6, and he played c4, and I played c6, playing this kind of a what is it computer saying, new Catalan semi-slab defense. So yeah, the semi-slab structure I thought is a very solid way of playing, and I was happy to even get a draw. I was really tired here. He grabbed on d5, which didn't make much sense to me. Let's go to the review to see like what is the accurate. Okay, so yeah, this was just a bad game by me, that's why I lost, but I didn't play it so bad in the opening and the middle game. So here, okay, let's go through the moves again. And yeah, I captured back with the e pawn, because if you take with the c pawn, which is also fine, but then this bishop is just slightly bad. So I take with the e pawn. He played d3, which surprised me a little bit. I thought, why not d4 and d3? But a computer says d3 is one of the best moves. So I'm impressed with the knowledge that he has on the structure here. Bishop e7, a3, castles, and rook e8. Normal moves, knight d2, and I played a5. h3, and I played a4. Just moving my pawn all the way up the board, clamping on these pawns. In the end game, it would be an advantage. He played b4, and I grabbed, because here I have created a weakness for my opponent on the a file. Took back with the queen, and I played h6, taking control of the g5 square. Bishop b2, and I played knight d7, and now he played d4, queen b6, because his queen is more active than mine, so I wanted to trade it. So here he just took my queen, and I was happy to get the queens off the board, because I thought that my pieces are just much better placed than his, and I have a weakness in his territory, a long-term weakness in the endgame. But also here, knight a4, directly attacking the bishop, sending the bishop back to c1, bishop f5, improving, taking away the b1 square from the rook. My weakness is the b7 pawn, and the rook is never allowed to go to b1 square, so I was happy with my position here. So king h2 he played after thinking quite for maybe like 5-6 minutes, and I played g5, which computer says is a mistake. But maybe, yeah, bishop d6, immediately improving the bishop, opening up the rook was a better idea. But here I played g5, and he played g4. His idea should have been to play knight e5, which is the square which is screaming for a knight to be there. But he played g4, and now I first gave a check. And yeah, g4 is a mistake because it opens up this diagonal towards the king. So I instantly gave a check, king h1, and I played bishop d3, saved my bishop attacking his rook, rook e1, and I played knight to c3, bishop to f1, and I played, my bishop is under attack, but I saw this knight to e4 tricky move. So if he takes my bishop, then I have knight takes f2 check, winning the bishop back. So computer says bishop all the way back to h7 is just a nice move for black, and you are having a commanding position with those knights in his position. But here he just took my knight, I took back, and he played king g2. I traded the bishops, and then I played rook to a4. Now I'm going to hunt that weakness on the a4 square. So he played rook d1, I piled up on that pawn, he defended it, but now b5 and b4 is coming to win the pawn because that is pinned and the rook is hanging behind it. So he moved the rook away and gave up the pawn, and I won that pawn. And here I was just contemplating a lot between f6 and taking the pawn. I thought I might be able to get the pawn later again, so maybe I should just play f6 and stop that knight getting to the e5 square. Might have been a good move as well, but here who can just like resist not taking a pawn, so I just took it. knight e5 he played, and I grabbed the bishop. He took back with the rook, and black is completely winning here. But we both were low on the clock. I had like maybe 5-6 minutes here. It was this last game of the day, very tired. The correct idea for black is rook to a2. The computer shows going after the f2 pawn, and if f3, then knight to g3 check is coming. And for example, if king starts to go this side of the board, like on e1, rook to e2 check, king goes to, let's say, d1, rook a to a2, and that's just a winning position for black. And can you believe it that I didn't see this idea? I mean, I saw this idea, but I thought that maybe he would just get a pawn back, and maybe he would just play f3, and where's my knight going? And I don't want to retreat my knight, and I didn't see this g3 square for the knight, and I missed it, and I decided to trade the rooks, which is a horrible mistake and lost a lot of advantage here. So he played a rook to d1, and I just played knight to d2 check. Just bad chess here. This is just horrible chess. And here he just won like my pawns, and I was like, what's going on? Just spoiled my winning position completely. And then I just was basically hoping for him to blunder and just making some moves that prolonged the game. Super tired, just like hoping for him to make a mistake, but he was playing super accurately, didn't give me a single chance. And yeah, at this position, he started to just maybe he started to take a lot of time here, and he did have a lot of time on the clock by this time. And I resigned here. Like he was taking a lot of time, and I was like super sleepy, and I wanted to go home and sleep. And I knew eventually it would be a checkmate on the board. I believed in his ability to checkmate me from here, so I resigned and decided to take the revenge the next day. And I was like very unhappy with this last game. I didn't want to lose a single game. And you guys see that I cut my hair. It's because I promised myself that if I lose a single game, I'll cut my hair. So I loved my hair, but I still cut them as a punishment for myself. So tip number 2, if you lose a game which was like super important to you, do punish yourself. So let's go to the next day. And now I'm playing Azan again. But here I was like super confident with the white pieces. And again, advice for you guys. You have to give that self-confidence to yourself before going into the game. And I wrote in the morning. I woke up like early in the morning. I practiced, did a lot of puzzles and revised my repertoire, watched some Grandmaster games, and then journaled down. I wrote down on my notebook that I have to take revenge from Azan and I will beat him with the white pieces. Although one bad thing happened is that you should not take like any sugar before the match. Like sugar actually produces this brain fog, and then you just completely black out sometimes, and you don't know what you just even did. And I just did the wrong breakfast, taking a lot of sugar and not protein, which is like more advisable to take. I started the game with knight f3, and he played d6, and I played d4. Knight f6, and I played c4, c6, knight c3, and here he played d5. I was a little bit surprised with this d5 move, although let's see the analysis, what this move is all about, because I was surprised that why would he just waste a tempo by going d5 here? Like, why would he, if he wanted to play d5, why wouldn't he play d5 in one move? So here, oh wow, so d5 is again the best move. So I'm like super impressed with this 11-year-old Azan's knowledge of the opening, and I like, you guys have to remember this name. This little kid will be a monster player in future, and might be like one of the top players of the country very soon. I see the potential in him. He has that Bobby Fischer vibe, and the way he's like super focused and has that aggressive look on the board. He has that thing in him. So I am really optimistic about his future in chess. So can you explain, like, you guys just try to guess like why I played knight g5 in this position? Because you will never be able to believe the reason. I wanted to play bishop to g5, which was also not correct here. Maybe e3 was a more nice way of playing. But after like thinking, should I go e3? Should I go bishop g5? Should I go g3? Should I take c takes d5? I thought about all these options. And in the end, I decided to just play bishop g5. And I thought like maybe I looked like somewhere else, something distracted me. And I looked back at the board and played knight g5. I was like, what did I just do there? Like, I was supposed to play bishop g5. And this is what sugar can do in the morning. If you take a lot of sugar in the breakfast and you go play the tournament, it's a complete brain fog moment. And you just do something you cannot explain to yourself. Why did you even do that? Like, it doesn't make no sense. Why would you put the knight to g5 there? So okay. How did I react after playing knight g5? Azan was instantly looking at my face and trying to see why did he play. He was surprised, literally. He was staring at my face. But I was having that super sharp poker face that this is my idea. I prepared this. I know this. I prepared this. But of course, that was just a stupid moment. I mean, he played h6, kicking the knight back, and I gave him free tempi, couple of free tempi. Like my knight was on f3. It was my move. After a couple of moves, my knight is still on f3. My position is just the same, but it is his move. Also, he has a free move h6. So what did I do? I just lost a couple of free tempi. Although luckily position is still equal. Black has been able to equalize because of this loss of a couple of tempi for white. But I was like, okay, relax. Nothing has gone wrong. I can still outplay my opponent from this equal position. I had this idea that it's not the end of the world. I might be able to outplay my opponent. He played bishop f5, which gave me hope again. Like I thought, okay, bishop f5 might not be the best move because I take on c takes d5, c takes d5, and queen b3. This typical idea I remembered about bishop f5 that you punish it with c takes d5, and queen to b3, hitting b7. And the best idea for black here is to move the bishop all the way back to c8. And I knew that during the game, and I thought, let's see if he knows this or not. After thinking for quite some time, he played the wrong move b6, which I knew was a mistake because it weakens the light squares terribly around the queen side. All these moves like queen c7, queen b6, queen d7 are also bad because of the tactics that I might had on the d5 square. For example, queen c7, the d5 square is gone. Even e4 is the computer's recommendation, but knight takes d5 is simply also good. Also, like queen b6 will also run into knight takes d5, and queen d7 trying to defend the pawn this way will run into knight e5. And yeah, only move is bishop c8, which I understood, I had seen this before, but he played b6, which gave me hope to win the game again. Like I knew that this was wrong. So I played bishop f4, improving the position of my bishop. Although computer is screaming to play e4, I never even thought about it. I played bishop f4, a6, and now e3, just letting the light square bishop out. And here, these are a couple of inaccurate moves. Computer really likes taking the knight and maybe attacking, okay, let's see the line. Here I would go e4 maybe and trying to win the pawn on a6. Yeah, e4, if pawn takes e4, knight goes to e5, and then I have attack on a6. His king is still in the center. So yeah, this does look like a great position for white. e6, I would go queen a4 check, and b5 does not stop queen a6, and then b5 would also be lost. Yeah, just a great position here. I never thought about taking that knight. So this is something I might add to my learning experience. e3 I played, and after e6 I played my knight to e5 now, because my idea is to play queen a4 check, controlling these light squares. Bishop e7, queen a4 check, and here I was expecting him to play knight f to d7, which might have been the correct move, and I might have just continued with like maybe bishop e2, bishop d3. Both of these moves are fine, but this was my like anticipation for his continuation. The moment he plays knight b to d7, I was like, wow, that must not be right because I have the c6 square here. So I immediately put my knight on c6. But the correct idea is, again, to just simply win a pawn on a6. But I saw the c6 square, and another advice for you guys, if you see a good move in the classical chess, have that move in your pocket and start thinking about another move. You have the confidence that you know the best move, or you have found a good move. But now start looking for better moves. You might find a better move. Like I completely missed that. I thought that the knight could go to d7, but then I have c6 square. But I forgot that knight could go to d7, and then a6 pawn would be hanging. So I played knight c6, a stupid mistake. But also like it's still winning for white, because here I take that bishop, drag the king closer, and I started to look at some crazy sacrifices here, dragging the king closer to the center, and then maybe play like something such as, I don't know, like maybe rook c1, and then maybe play knight e4 check. I was one move away. If I had the rook on c1 already, it would have been a great line. But I, of course, didn't want to go into something crazy like that. Queen a3 check is a great move for white here, making the king go back e8, and then bishop e2, castles, and then like queen is stopping the king running away to this side of the board. So this was the right idea. I played bishop d2 and gave him enough time to run with the king f8. I castled. Again, here h4 is computer recommending rook c1, lining the rook with the queen, but castles, just wanting to get a safety, he played g5. I dropped the bishop back to g3, and here he played king g7, rook c1, queen b7, and I played queen d1, and I decided to trade off the bishops, and the position has already gotten close to equal. Rook c6, I dropped the knight back to e2, and I played this f3, very important move to stop knight coming to e4. trade of pieces happened. This is still a completely equal position, and I was just maybe here losing a lot of hope and just hoping to get a draw even. And I was like, okay, let's get a draw and win the tournament. If I don't win against Azan, it's fine, but I have to win the tournament. So here he played G4 and I played Queen E2. Computer really likes F takes G4, but here I decided to open up the G file with an attack on the king. Still, it's an equal position. I played Bishop D2 and he played G5 and I played E4, the right idea. And here he made a mistake, G5, because I played knight to E4, and now this queen is just run out of squares. And here he played another blunder. King H7 is a mistake. I don't know why he played that. Maybe he was a little bit nervous about, let's say if he just takes on E4, I would have taken back, like still looks okay. He would have gone E5 maybe, and this is just maybe fine for black. So I don't know why he played like King H7 here. Maybe he wanted to just, I don't know, like, okay, maybe he wanted to avoid the queen G2 check in some lines. So I played E5 attacking the knight on F6, and here he captured the pawn on A2. Because, like, you guys can pause the video and try to find what happens if you try to save the knight. Let's say you go knight back to G8. I saw that in the game that I could give the check on D3 square. And for example, the king goes back to G7. Then I have this beautiful queen to C2 move. And on the next move, I would just win the queen. So that's a queen trap. He also saw that. And here he just took the pawn on A2 to not let his queen trap. And I first gave this check. And here again, taking with the knight, I thought was wrong because here he would just maybe give this check. And let's say I go like, where do I go? King G2. He would just win the pawn on D4, I believe. Yeah, this I didn't like. So first Queen D3 check, King G7, and then I took the knight. And then, for example, knight takes F6. Yeah, that's what happened in the game. Bishop takes B4, Queen A1, King F2. He gave some checks. I blocked with the bishop. And then I have a completely winning attacking position here. So I decided to improve my knight. He decided to just swing the queen all the way to the king side here. And I slowly, carefully tried to trade the queens. Connected my pawns here and then just comfortably won this position in the endgame. Here I just completely blundered here, just knight f5 check, lost a pawn, but still I thought like having an extra piece should be winning, so nothing to worry about. Got my king into a better position here. Okay, starting to feel a little bit nervous because he had a lot of pawns, but I was like, okay, I could just give up my bishop anytime for the pawns, and if I get like this pawn like on f7, it would be great. So here he played f5 and he has 3 connected passed pawns. Computer thinks that it's nothing to worry about. I can go like bishop b4. I would still be winning, but I just decided to give up my knight taking en passant because it's a rule like if you see en passant, you have to take. So I took and he took my knight, and here I played king to e4. Knight d6 check, king takes e5, and he took my pawn. But now I had hopes with this pawn that I should be winning. So king e6, he gave this check on c7, and then I played king f7. After the game, Zorez, who is like a 2000 FIDE-rated chess player, told me that this king f7 was a blunder, and after this, it's a straightforward draw. And I was like, okay, maybe he's right, but yeah, computer thinks the otherwise. So he played king h7 and bishop to bishop g3 attacking the knight, and he played a tricky move d3. So if I had taken the knight, then d2, and it would have been impossible to stop the pawn. So I played bishop to f4, stopping the pawn. He attacked my bishop, but bishop back to d2, knight c7. King to e7, letting the pawn run, and after f7, he gave this check. King to d6. Now the pawn is ready to promote itself. So king takes, I took back the knight, and after king e6, I played bishop g5, and he resigned in this position because if he goes like pawn forward, I take, and then it's a winning position. I mean, it would have been a long struggle for him to just maybe wait for me to make a mistake, but he respected me enough, which I really appreciate. Yesterday, I resigned against him like quite early, not really waiting for myself to get mated. He returned the favor by resigning in this position and not really seeing the mate on the board, which is a sign of a great player in future. So I really have great hopes for Azan. Such a fantastic chess player. He has that professionalism in him. He has that desire to win, and he has that Bobby Fischer vibe, which is very, very important for becoming a champion in future. So best of luck for you. If you're watching this, if you ever watch this, best of luck, Azan. Okay, I'll go with my other games pretty fast because this video has already taken quite some time here. So this game against a very senior player, he was very old. I mean, I don't know, maybe 50, 60 years old. I don't know. But here he had white pieces and I had no idea what he plays. So he played e4, I played e5, knight c3, knight f6, and he played the Vienna. With f4, I played d5. Pawn takes on e5, knight takes on e4. Let's get the review so we see if the moves are correct or not. So yeah, here, this is the main line in the Vienna, and here he should have played queen to f3, which is the main line, and I was familiar with that, but here he actually played knight f3, which is also a move, and I was not sure what to do here. I thought about bishop c5, but I didn't know what to do after d4, so let's see. Here if he had gone sorry, not d3, but d4, okay, bishop b4. Yeah, I once saw this, but I completely forgot about it, so I played the wrong c5 move. Bishop e5 check, knight c6, queen e2, knights got traded, bishop e7, castles, bishop f4, queen b6, he took my knight, I took back with the queen f2, bishop e6, better was to put bishop to f5, but bishop e6, queen g3, his idea is to play bishop h6, but I played king h8, and he played rook f2, and I played rook d8, trying to line the rook on the d file, but here best was to play h6. But I thought that, yeah, there is no danger, I could just maybe double my rooks on the d file and try to play for d4, but here he traded off the pieces and I played h6, he played queen h4, I played king g8, and here he played knight f3, a5, rook e1, a4, g4. So this was an important moment in the game. He took some time here and he played this beautiful g4 move, which I was surprised to see because that's a very aggressive attacking move. Anytime you see g4 on the board, it usually is trouble time because g4 is just an aggressive move. So really here I got nervous. I got nervous that, okay, he's gonna attack me, and basically computer thinks that there's nothing to worry about and I can go d4. But I played rook to d8 because I was nervous that maybe he goes g5 and like I didn't know what to do. Like maybe I thought that I have to bring my rook back to the defense. I don't know, I was getting nervous, and when you get nervous you start making mistakes. And I don't even know why exactly I played this. Yeah, maybe I wanted to... Yeah, I know now. If I play rook d8, then I probably play like maybe bishop back to d7 or c8 and open up my queen to defend against the attack on h6. Like I could drop my bishop back, let's say, to f5, or like maybe I could just drop it back to like maybe c8. And I thought I could just maybe defend, which is just wrong here. He could go e6 and is completely winning. But in the game, I played rook d8, he played g5, and I played the better bishop f5. Bishop c8, of course, was wrong. But I was really, really nervous that what if he goes e6 here? And if he had gone e6, it was just maybe game over for me, because f take e6, and I'm blocking the queen's attack, defense on the h6 square, and he would have taken, and then my king side is getting ripped apart by his attack. So he was attacking me, and I don't like being attacked. And here, luckily, he didn't find e6, and he played like rook g2, which also made me a lot nervous. So I moved my king to h8. Better was rook d to e8, going after maybe just putting the rook on e6. But again, attacking moves make you nervous, and I just played king h8, and he played queen f4 here. Maybe he was also getting so tired, so he was not like finding the best moves. So the best idea for him was to play here instead, play e6. Yeah, like e6 of course. I was scared about that, but he played queen f4. I played bishop e4, and he played rook to g3. Again, maybe his idea was to put the rook on the h3 square, so it gave me enough time to play h3, and suddenly I am able to defend because I got g6 and close down everything. So here it was super important for him to play something such as queen g4 to stop like h5, because if I get the chance to close down the position, then black is just better. And he played rook e2, but again I was like nervous, like maybe I thought that I don't know what to do here. So he played b3, and again, just this was the most horrible move of the day. Like c4, just a stupid move. I completely forgot that I would just be giving up the d4 square here. So very important advice for you guys. If you're playing this bishop versus knight imbalance, then never give that stupid knight a square. Then your opponent can simply trade into an endgame and play good knight versus bad bishop. So this is just a horrible move. I don't know why. I just like, I was low on the clock, so I wanted to make a move, so I played this, and he played knight to d4 and pressed the clock with confidence. Now he thought that he's better, but okay, I still have chances here, but maybe I also thought he was better. So I played queen g6, putting a little bit of pressure on the c2 square. So he played queen h4. it gave me a little bit of sign that maybe he doesn't know what to do here. So he took back. Yeah, maybe if he had, instead of, I was worried, what if he just takes on c4, which was maybe a better move for him. Yeah, like, okay, here I might have played like maybe rook c8. Queen b6 is a better move, computer suggests. Of course, I cannot take the pawn because the bishop would be hanging. So I was worried about this, but once he played queen h4, I took a sigh of relief and took on b3. He took back, and then I played rook e8, queen f4, and I played queen b6. And here's something interesting happened. I didn't know what to do. I was running low on the clock, and I held my queen in my hand, and I was about to put it on a6 because I thought that I would be attacking the rook on e2. But then I saw that this knight is defending the rook, and I'm stupid to put my queen on a6. And then I did not leave my queen from my hand, and I put it back on g6 and held it in my hand and just saw like what might be a better square for the queen. And then I decided maybe I could put it on b6. But then I thought, oh my God, if I put it on b6 even, I'm losing the pawn on f7. And I knew that, okay, I've touched it, I had to move. This is a touch move rule. Another advice for you guys, sit on your hands. Don't touch a piece unless you're not like entirely sure about your move. So I was not sure. I took my queen in my hand and I played queen b6 and I lost my pawn on f7. And again, white is just much better in this position. So I played bishop g6, attacking the queen. He went queen all the way back to f1, attacked the queen, he blocked with the rook. He took back with the queen, and I played king g8, trying to maybe attack the queen with the rook f8 move. So we played rook f3 here, and I played bishop e4, attacking the rook. He played rook f4, and I played rook to e8, trying to go after the pawn, and he played e6 and slammed on the clock. Like, he showed me that confidence that he's winning here. But I dropped the bishop back to g6 because I did not want an infiltration by the rook on f7 square. Because, for example, if I just do anything else, rook f7, he could take and then mate me on f7, like maybe some attack. So here I've dropped the bishop back, and he played queen f3. I don't know, maybe he attacked the pawn on d5, but I took the pawn on e6, which was a big mistake. Of course, a better move here was maybe just to defend the pawn with queen c5. But again, I was like nervous, low on the clock. I took the pawn on e6. And here what happened is that he took his knight and captured my rook, which is an illegal move because the knight is pinned. And once he captured my rook, I stopped the clock. He's like a very senior player, not accustomed to like rules of FIDE. He was not even writing the moves down, which he took the permission from me in the start of the game. So I did him a favor that, okay, you may not write the moves. Of course, it does distract you after you make the move. You have to concentrate on the pen, pick it up, write a move, see what the coordinates are. It's a little distraction, but it's a rule in the classical chess that you have to follow. He was not following that. He did have an advantage over me in that sense. So here he actually like, okay, but I don't mind. Like I said, okay, whatever. But he took my rook with the knight, made an illegal move, but there was no arbiter around. I stopped my clock and started looking for arbiter, and he started criticizing me like, why you stopped the clock? I was like, you made an illegal move. And he's like, so what? Like, I don't lose the game. I can make another move here. So I like, okay, that's fair. I'm not claiming that I win the game. I'm just claiming that you made an illegal move. You should be given a warning because the next time you make an illegal move, you would lose. And also I should get like 2 minutes on the clock. And he said, you may get 5 minutes on the clock. And I was like, okay, whatever. Just start the game. Like, okay, whatever. Like, because I thought that maybe if I wait for arbiter comes, starts giving me time and gives him warning. In the meantime, he could maybe see the best move on the board. So I wanted to, he was also like 4 minutes on the clock, and I was like 2 minutes on the clock. So those 2 minutes would have been valuable for me. But if the game had paused here, he would have seen the correct move, which was to take the pawn on d5 with the queen, which I saw that maybe I would have to go bishop f7. But here he had queen d7. Also, rook takes f7 is winning for him. I would have taken back the king, and then maybe, okay, computer says h4, king f2, king g2, but no direct moves. So here I'm in exchange up, but my position is just bad because of the weak king and the rook is pinned, and you can always just maybe just move the king away, and then my rook is still pinned and he could win it on the next move, and he just has a better position here. Like, for example, what would I do here? Like, let's say I don't know, like I don't even know a move, h4. Okay, he would, like, my rook is pinned, my pieces are paralyzed. Maybe queen, like I can't even move my queen. I can move it to, okay, let's say he goes somewhere like king f3. I guess I can move my queen, and then he can take, I take back, takes. This is a winning endgame for him because he could win that pawn. But even if I, like, for example, don't move my pawn up the board, let's say here I just move my queen to a6. queen takes e6, queen takes e6, knight takes e6, king takes e6 is still winning for him. He goes h4 and he has a winning pawn in game. He's a pawn up. So yeah, he would have exchanged everything and gone into a winning king and pawn endgame. But after all that drama happened, like I was like, okay, you just play. I don't need the time on the clock. He's like, if you want to win, you can win right away. I don't mind, but don't win by cheating. I was like, I'm not cheating. I'm just claiming that you made an illegal move. But I don't know why he took that personally. But once I like, okay, let's start the game here. So once the game started, he put the knight back. Like he instantly played the move queen f2. I was like, what? Like, okay, now I'm at least not a pawn down. So I dropped my rook back to e8. He played h4. I played queen a6. Decided to trade the queens. I knew he was tired. He wanted to trade queens. And I like this like psychologically distracts me a lot. Like the whole drama that happened. I was like relieved that maybe it's a draw and I've come out of a winning position, a losing position. Now I'm basically drawing the game. What else did I need? Now it should be a draw. I'm happy to make a draw. But I didn't realize in this whole situation that I was winning. This rook e4 move with the idea to grab the pawn on h4 and then get the rook into an active spot was the winning idea for black, which I completely didn't see because I was overwhelmed with the fact that I just saved the losing position. So another advice for you guys that if you were in a losing position and you're fighting to maybe draw the game and just save your ass from that position, once you save your day from that position, you have to see that maybe, okay, you have saved the game. Now you're back normal. You might try to win from there. So this is something we miss. Once we get out of a losing position, we feel comfortable drawing the game, but no, you might get a chance to push for a win here. So I decided to trade the rooks, which led to a dead draw position after this endgame happened. And a lot of like moves were made here, but in the end, we realized that it can lead us to nowhere. And it was just a draw. So this was a draw. Now, next game, I was like, okay, he attacked me very, very hard. Like, I don't like getting attacked. The next game, I decided to attack him. Like, I decided to show him what real attack looks like. And in this game, again, of course, when I want to play attacking chess, I want to start with e4. I was like, maybe he's well prepared with the Sicilian and he might attack me. So I started to play with knight f3. After some thought, he played d5, I played g3, and he played knight c6. I played d4, and he played bishop f5, bishop g2, and queen to d7. I was like, so he attacked me in the first game. Now he's planning to attack me in the second game as well. But I was confident about this setup does not work against Ratty. So let me just put on the review. So this was just a master class, a miniature against him, just masterfully played. And he appreciated me after the game that like, what a combination. 95.9% accuracy. So just a beautiful game by me here. So maybe the best game of the tournament. So he played queen d7 here, which is inaccurate. I played castles. I had lost a horrible game in a rapid tournament here when my opponent used this idea against me. So I prepared this after that tournament. So another advice for you guys. If you lose a horrible game in an opening, do see what was the correct idea against that setup. So I knew the correct setup. So he played h5. And I was very confident to play c4, and he played e6, and I played knight c3, and I was waiting for this knight to come out to f6 so I can throw my knight to e5 because I prepared this line. Best move here is c takes d5, but at some point you will play knight e5, but I played it instantly, which is also good for white. Knight takes e5, pawn takes e5, and hitting that knight, sending it to g4. Better is to put the knight on e4, which was also in my preparation, but here he played knight to g4. And I took the pawn on d5 because I win a pawn here. If you take, I take back with even the queen, and I'm basically a pawn up here. So he decided to long castle and decided to just confuse the matter here. So I played queen b3 and set up a deadly tactic. He took my pawn on d5 and I took back with a knight. And suddenly he played bishop quickly he played bishop e6 and slammed the clock again. Like he showed me confidence that he's back in the game. Like he thought that he's winning the knight here because it's defended twice and now you're attacking it thrice. And if I like defended with rook d1, then you have c6 winning the knight because I can't move the knight away. If I move the knight, then I'm losing the rook on the d1 square. So again, this is still okay for white. But the move I played in this position, it took him by surprise. Then I played knight to e7, double exclamation mark move. I found it in the game and I'm super proud of it. So these are the kind of moves that give you real happiness. And I'm super proud of this one. And he appreciated me after the game for finding this move as well. Here, I basically saw this. I saw it right here once I decided to take with the knight. Otherwise I might have played something else. Like maybe I was thinking about bishop g5, which is the computer recommendation as well. Rook to d1, I thought, maybe e4. Some moves like they were on my radar, but I saw this line that if he goes bishop e6, then he's getting mated. So he played bishop e6 and I threw my knight to e7 after just carefully looking that if I'm not missing anything. And this is the only double exclamation mark, only brilliant move for me in the tournament, which I'm super proud of. He took my knight, and with surprise, he still didn't see what's the point. Queen takes b7 and he resigns, because if king goes to d7, then bishop c6 is a checkmate, because e7 is a square taken away by the queen. And if you just take the knight with anything else, then you're getting straight away mated. So a beautiful combination, it just made my day. So the video is getting over 1 hour mark, so I'll just hurry quickly to show you my last two games. Like the second last game was pretty boring against Anas Kamran, who's also like a very dangerous player. So I decided to just play positionally in the first game, and he played this Jobava London, which I'll just turn on the reviews so we see the moves we are making are just fine. So here he played e3 and I played a6. This is the line I prepared against the Jobava. Knight f3, bishop b4, bishop b3 and c5. And here he played a3, which is a mistake. I knew that was a mistake, and I had this in my preparation. Bishop takes knight, b takes, and c4, hitting the bishop back to e2, and knight to e4, hitting c3, and you cannot defend the c3 pawn. Castle, the knight takes c3. Computer likes, okay, computer does like f6 here. Knight takes c3 is also fine. But yeah, this was in my preparation that we win a free pawn and take the bishop, and then just enjoy a healthy pawn up position. Although it would be a really hard struggle, a positional struggle to win this position, as the nature of the position is basically opposite color bishops, which is always very, very drawish. So, but I had like, okay, I'm playing for two results. I have an extra pawn, and I could just, and basically there was another scenario. I wanted to tire my opponent out because this was not a must-win game for me. I could afford a draw and then win the next game to win the tournament. So I wanted to tire him out. So I could have like maybe agreed to a draw way earlier, because I was not really finding a way to maybe proceed forward. Here, computer gives h6 and then maybe g5 the correct idea, trying to open up the h file if in that case, but I played g5 instantly, and g3, and then a lot of positional moves. Like I'm just making moves to tire him out, just trying to set little traps, tactics. Like for example, the trap that I was setting up, whoops, I spoiled the game for you guys a little bit, so I'll just go back to that position. So yeah, here just like playing a little cat and mouse with my opponent, trying to tire him out for the next round and setting little traps. For example, here, if he goes something such as queen to e2, then I had this rook takes h3 check, king takes, queen to h6 check, and yeah, he has to block with the queen, and he's getting mated. So he constantly had to look out for these little traps and tactics that I was setting out for him, sometimes preparing a b4 push, and he had to stop that as well. So I was just constantly playing for this two results, feeling very comfortable in this position. Finally, I played h5 on this side of the board, and again, a lot of shuffling. This game is like not so accurate, just I was just not sure what to do in this completely locked up structure. I was at some point thinking maybe it's a draw. But after this sequence, here I took the pawn on b4, which was not the right decision. I should have gone g4, and if he had locked the position down on the king side like this, then I should go rook to b7 and play on the queen side and not let his queen infiltrate my position. Would have been the correct idea. I would have the c pawn running up the board, but I missed this idea, and I instantly captured the pawn on b4, allowed his queen infiltrating into my position, creating threats of perpetual check. And here he got one idea to draw the game like this, and we agreed to a draw and instantly started the next game, which was a must-win game for me now. So again, I understood that he's pretty tired after the game, and I knew that I had to use this fact that he's tired, so I would just go into another positional struggle and tire him out, because if I go into tactics, it's a gamble that I might win or lose. Again, positional way of playing is the more reliable way of playing. Tactical way of playing is like a more desperate way of playing. It's an advice for you guys. If you desperately want to win no matter what, like losing doesn't count, then you have to play tactically and aggressive. But here I had confirmed that maybe getting a draw would also secure me because it would tie me with another player like Amar. And I might be on like 7 points. And because I had better head-to-head score, I would win the tournament. So I had the luxury of drawing the game. So I played decided to play positionally. So I played this line. He played this G6 move, which took me by surprise because I thought that this is not the best setup here, and it has a lot of weaknesses. Like you never combine G6, with E6. And here, if you go G6, you create a lot of dark square weaknesses around your king. So I played D4, Bishop G7. I think it's called the Schlechter variation. Computer says King's Indian attack. So I played B3, again, going for the double fianchetto, my favorite thing these days because I'm analyzing all of these games by Ulf Anderson. So I played knight E5, the correct move, and he played C5, and I played E3, and Queen C7. I attacked. Yeah, Queen C7 also took me by surprise. I thought it gets attacked, and Queen goes back to B8. And I play Rook C1. Computer thinks C takes D5 is correct. Yeah, I was constantly thinking about these takes, but I was like, okay, let's improve our position to optimal level, and then I'll play C takes D5. But here he has A6 move, and after knight A3, of course, here I can't put my knight back to C3 because then the D4 pawn would be a weakness. Like, of course, he can also take the knight. Like, for example, knight goes back to C3. He could have taken my knight, pawn takes, queen takes on E5. And I thought this is like, oh, okay, he's up a pawn. Okay, still the bishop is eyeing the queen, so I might be able to win. Maybe I was thinking maybe like, okay, like C takes D5, and knight takes D5, and we can give up the bishop because here we have rook to C2 attacking the queen. Queen goes back to E5, and knight takes on F6 check. Bishop takes, let's say, and bishop takes B7. So we win the piece back. Of course, I didn't see all that, and I decided to play knight to A3 to avoid all that. And he took my knight on E5 anyways, which was surprising to me because here I wanted my pawn to be on E5 because it would drag his knight away from that F6 square. Now I have space advantage with F4 move, and I thought I have a good clamp on his position. So he played rook to D8, lining the rook with the queen, and I played queen to E2 because I was nervous not to open the position up, having my queen and his rook on the same line. So I played this queen E2, a safe move. And here I went to the bathroom just to get myself freshened up. Again, an advice for you guys. During the classical games, you have to go to the bathroom, just wash your face, wash your arms, just, get fresh and just do a little bit of stretching exercise, walk a little bit so you get the blood flow rushing back into your eyes and your brain so you're not able to, so you don't blunder, you're able to play good chess again. But my opponent was like very focused. He did not leave his seat. So he decided to play F6. And when I went to the bathroom, I just like looked into the mirror and I just did a little prayer. Like, I hope when I go back, my opponent blunders. That's what I was hoping. I went back and he played F6, which I was like, oh, maybe that is a blunder. And I took the pawn on D5 because here, if he takes the pawn back on D5, then I have the E6 push. And this E6 pawn is like a bone in his throat. Knight F8 and I fork his pieces. So here he decided to take the pawn on E5, and then I took pawn on E6 anyways, knight F6, and I took another pawn on the E5 square, hitting his queen. Now I'm 2 pawns up. He played queen to C8, trying to win my pawn back. But here I just played rook to D1. He took my bishop. I first took his rook, dragging his queen away from the attack on the E6 pawn, and then I grabbed the bishop on G2. And here he resigned, and he said, I told him maybe F6 was the mistake he did, and he's like, okay, I'm completely blacked out, and I cannot calculate. This has happened to me a lot of times in these classical chess tournaments, the stage when you completely black out, and you just pray that you never play chess, and you want to go back home and sleep, because it exhausts you so much. So you have to have that stamina of playing at least for like 6 to 7 hours of chess. So before every classical chess tournament, you have to start playing a lot of chess, maybe 4 to 5 hours of rapid chess and maybe some puzzles, in total of 7 hours to build that stamina, which is the key advice I would love to give you guys if you want to win and perform better in those classical rated tournaments, and I gained like 40 points of rating in this tournament, which is like a big jump. And now I'm like 1775, getting closer to 1800. Maybe in the next tournament, I'll just get that 1800 mark. And probably I'm going to be playing the nationals or the city state championship, which I'm preparing for. And I'm going to make sure that I basically win, because I just can't afford to lose anymore. I've lost enough tournaments. Now it's time to win and show these guys like what it is like to play real chess. And a lot of these guys who think that they can get it, no, you guys are not gonna get it, because I don't have anything else to do. I'm going to prepare 24/7. I'm playing chess in my sleep. I'm eating, sleeping, breathing chess, and I'll see how you guys beat me. So this tournament was slightly okay, like a little bit bad. I'm not there yet, but I will be there in my next tournament. So if you still watch the whole video of this like 70 minutes, then I hope you also get to learn a lot from this analysis and just perform best in your future upcoming tournament. And this is a great moment for me. Just like, of course, super happy to win a tournament. And of course, okay, you guys can see the excitement in my voice. Whew. So yeah, overall, thank you guys for sticking out with me. Do subscribe to the channel and hit that like button, and I'll be coming up with more content for you guys, instructive learning, whatever my journey is to become like a grandmaster. I will share everything with you, all the secrets I've learned to the date and will learn in the future. I'll keep sharing. So don't forget to subscribe to this channel to learn from me and just basically improve your game. So yeah, that's it. I don't want to end the video already. It's too long, but I keep talking to you guys. If you stayed up till this point, thank you so much for staying with me. So yeah, thanks a lot. See you guys in the next video, and have a great day.